Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite content creator and fashion entrepreneur, Lara Savage. And on this channel, I post sewing tutorials, gadget reviews, and other times I talk about my life as an entrepreneur. Now in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this amazing kaftan with Asooke. So let's get our intro in and do what? StitchUp! So guys, here's what we'll be needing. Two different fabrics of your choice. I'm using Asooke and satin, measuring tape, scissors, pins, my quilting ruler, and fabric chalk. Now guys, for my pocket pieces, I have 3 of them that are going to look like this in the end. So the first piece is the biggest one, and I'm going to measure out 17 inches by 11 inches. Now for the smallest one, I'm going to measure out 9 inches by 5 inches. And for the third one, I'm going to measure out 13 inches by 9 inches. Then we're going to move on to our main fabric. Now the measurement I have right here is 22 inches on both sides. So that gives me 44 inches. Now how I got this 44 inches is I measured my bust circumference, which is 32 inches, and added 12 inches. That's 3 inches on all 4 sides. So if I fold it into 4, it's going to be 3 inches plus a quarter of my bust measurement. So just like I'm doing right here, I'm folding it into 4 equal parts. So on each part, I'm going to have 11 inches. Now the first thing I'm going to do is measure out my neckline, and I'm going to be using 3 inches by 1.5 inches for the back. Then for the front, we're going to be using a V-neck, which will be 3 inches by 7 inches. Then here, I'm measuring my shoulder to shoulder measurements. Now, if you don't want to use your shoulder to shoulder measurements, you don't need to. I'm using the entire length of this fabric. I just wanted to show you guys what it would look like if I was measuring it right there. So on that spot, I'm going to go down by 1 inch and slant that line to the neckline. So do you guys get? You're slanting it to the neckline, but you're going to slant it to the end of your fabric if you're using the entire width of your fabric. I didn't do it right here, but later on I realized that, oh, I didn't do it, so I quickly did it so that I won't make any mistakes when I'm cutting. So make sure you slant it to the end of the fabric. Then I'm going to cut it out so that I can know where the exact 3 inches neck width is going to be at the back pattern when I remove it. So just do what I'm doing right here, cut it out, and then cut out your neckline for the back pattern. So here I'm measuring it again, 3 inches by 1.5 inches, and I'm going to make that curve to form my neckline. So next I'm going to measure out 7 inches, which is the neck depth of my front pattern. So guys, on the 7-inch mark that we made, you're going to draw a slanted line from the neck width to the neck depth. So this is our front we're working with. And then cut out that V shape. Now it's time to grab the star of the day. So I'm going to grab my Asooke piece, and here the length I've measured is from my shoulder to my hip measurement. So my shoulder to hip measurement is roughly 24 inches. I'm just going to round it up to 24 inches and then fold it into 2 and place it on the shoulder line, just like I'm doing right here. And then cut out that V shape. So right now you're going to turn your fabric to the other side and measure out your shoulder to waist measurement. In my case, that's 16 inches. So I'm going to measure 16 inches because that's where I want my slant to start. Now this is up to you. You can make your slant start from anywhere. You can do any shape. Then I'm going to open up my fabric and start working on the main slant. Now guys, I'm just going to grab my ruler and I'm going to draw that slanted line and just cut it out from there. Now guys, be careful to not cut out your main fabric. I thought I was cutting it out right here, so thank God I was not cutting it out. This is what it looks like. Any tweaks we need to do, we'll do them later, and this is what I'm going to do next. Open up the main fabric, which is the black fabric in my own case, then place it right sides facing down. So you're looking at the wrong side. So the wrong side is facing up. That's what you should be looking at. Then place the Asooke piece on it, right sides facing down. So the wrong side of the main fabric is facing the right side of the Asooke fabric. So with this, you're looking at both wrong sides facing up. Then use a pin to secure it all around the V. Once you secure it all around the V, sew it down right there. And when you're ready to turn it over to the other side, make sure you snip the V part so that you can have enough ease to turn it to the other side so that it can be very, very smooth when you iron it. So you're going to be sewing it by about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch, and then we're going to flip it over when we're done. So just sew it at that V, on a straight V. That's why we're pinning, we're adding a lot of pins. So pin as much as you can and sew it down right there. Now onto our pockets. So you're going to be folding it right sides facing each other and sewing it, because we're going to turn it inside out so that we'll have the right side outside. So you're going to just pin it and sew it down right there. So you're leaving the top open and sewing down the two sides. Now guys, I forgot to mention you also need a bias tape for the back neckline, and this is what you're going to do. Now I've done about 2 videos where I taught you guys how to use a bias tape. So basically what you're going to do is grab your bias tape, pin it to the right side of the neckline so that once you flip it over, you can, hide that bias tape basically. So I'm just going to cut out the excess, go to my sewing machine and sew everything I need to do. So here's what I have after sewing my pocket pieces. I'm just trimming the excess so that it won't give me any problem once I'm turning it inside out. So just like I'm doing right here, you're going to turn it inside out, then fold it in by 1/2 an inch on all the pieces, then place them on top of each other. So guys, the way it is right here, you're folding it on all the pieces. You can even also iron it down and just pin it right there. So can you guys see, this is what it's going to look like in the end. So I'm going to sew it down at the top. So guys, right here, my camera skipped the part where I was turning my fabric to the other side. So the Asooke, after sewing it on the wrong side, you're going to flip it to the right side, so it's going to be clean, and then you're going to work on your shoulders. Now remember, I don't have a serger, so I'm going to be using a French seam so that I can hide all my seams. I'm going to put the shoulders together and then sew it on the outside and on the inside so that I can have my clean finish. Now if you have a serger, just put it right sides facing each other, sew the shoulder down, and then I'll be back to show you guys the next step you need to take. Guys, I am back with the sewn pieces. I've sewn my pockets down. Now we're going to work on our pocket placement. I want my pocket to start on my waistline, and I just remembered that that's where I started my slanted line on my Asooke design. So I'm just basically going to move it up by 1 inch so that I can have room for my pockets. So to place your pockets, you're going to place it 2 inches from the edge and on the 16-inch mark, and then pin it right there. Now to avoid any hindrances, I'm going to cut it like I said. I'm going to cut it by 1 inch. I'm just going to eyeball it because it's not going to give me so much problem. I'm just going to cut it slanting by 1 inch. You can rule a line to make sure your hand is straight, but I'm just going to cut it out right there. And this is what I'm going to have. So nothing is hindering anything again. I can just sew it right there. So now what I'm going to do is sew my Asooke fabric. All I'm going to do right now is fold all the edges of the Asooke fabric in by about 1/4 of an inch. That's 0.25 inches. So I'm going to fold it in, iron it if possible, then pin it down right there and sew it down on that edge. So you're going to follow that edge and sew it down right there. So this is what it's going to look like once you're done sewing. You can see the outline showing right here. I've also sewn the pockets down because it's easier to actually do everything before sewing the side seams together. So once you're done sewing everything, you're going to now sew the side seam. Finish the hem by folding it up twice. So this is what I did. So what you're going to do is measure out what you have on your sleeve. That's the armhole. Just measure it all around, and then cut out a fabric that is about 2 inches more than that measurement so that you don't want any mistakes. So once you do that, fold the top about 1/2 an inch in, then fold it into 2, and then fold it 1/2 an inch again on both sides. So you're doing like you're making a bias tape. So do exactly what I'm doing in the video, then iron it down.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out.
So this is it ironed. I'm going to grab this part where I folded at the top, place it on my fabric right here, and then start pinning. So this is what you're going to do. Place it right there, start pinning all around.
Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can't.
And when you get to almost the end, about 2 inches to the end, stop sewing, remove it, then fold it in just like I'm doing right here, fix it and sew it down. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other side and sew it. Guys, I am done sewing and this is what it looks like. I was contemplating sewing this down, but I just wanted it to be free. I also did the same method for the hem and it looks so beautiful. Like, look at it. Instead of having a plain hem, I have this amazing design on the hem, so that once you see me from the back, you would see that design showing, and when you see the front, you're like, oh my god, this is super amazing. And that's all I have for you guys today. Please subscribe, guys. A lot of you guys are watching my videos but you're not subscribed. Please, it's going to help my algorithm, my analytics. Click the bell button so that you can see any video I come up with, any video I upload on this channel. You're going to be the first to see it. Comment in the comment section with what else you want to know, and if you end up recreating this, please send it to me on Instagram at Lara Savage Creations. I would love to share it with my growing followers. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, do have yourself a wonderful morning, noon, or night wherever you are. It's still your favorite content creator and fashion entrepreneur, Lara Savage, signing out.